Hello, my name is Lucia Amoros, and I am working at the University of Murcia in the Faculty of Education. Now I'm going to explain about the meeting, about the meeting of today, and I have to say two things. The first one is say thank you very much to Marie de Marnef and Abigail Walsh, because they have very clear the things that they want, and to me was very easy to make this presentation. And the second thing is apologize because my English language is not very good, so I need your patience for my English pronunciation. So thank you very much in advance. Anyway, the task in this meeting is include a new research subject and concretely, in particular, to make a concept. We are talking about to measure language diversity, and it means that we need time to explain about diversity, and we need time to quantify in diversity, and then make all together the concept of measuring language diversity. So the subtask, thanks to the two other meetings and conversations, was summarize all the information that we have. This is honestly is not an easy task. I was looking for in the Web of Science about measuring language diversity, and I found a lot of documentation with different nature. For example, 151 about linguistics, or 78 documents thinking in educational research. For example, 33 thinking in psychology, experimental psychology, or 77 in linguistics. So this is a complex space, but I think we can. I am sure that we can. So cheer up. And to evidence that, I make a little research about who we are. So you can see here the landscape. There are different profiles inside of the working group 4. We are 39% of computational linguistics, 39% of people from computational linguistics. Thinking the profile of natural language processing, we are 14% of people. In mathematics, there are 1 person. In education, there are 17. In business, there are 2 persons. And in law and policy, there are 2 persons. But we are, in law and policy, there are 2 persons. And use of language, there are 14% of people. Or, for example, in artificial intelligence, we are 18 people, 18% people. So we have a complex working group, and this is very, very good for this task, because we can offer different points of views. So we need to measure language diversity, and the aims are to collect and share resources, and to include reference. This is our 2 aims. So I focus on this presentation. I am focusing on in my presentation about the first aim, to collect and share resources, and think we are talking about data, research, and tools. So we have to do that because we need include references. So in this sense, we can make a source explicitly. I made a relation with mathematical measures, and here we have surveys, search tasks, computational tools, or others. But we can speak about measure implicitly, and we have data collections, annotation, descriptions, others, and analyze linguistic things. So we have a lot of information. And for example, I share a document, thanks to Abigail, thinking in my point of view. I am educator, so my point of view in order to make a concept about measuring language diversity is not the same like for an engineer, for example. So this is important. Examples about resources, there are a lot. I was looking for in the Memorandum of Understanding, and at the end I find references. And for example, on the first time, to me was very interesting the document of Bender that speak about how language independence evaluates in our file of study. It was very interesting to me the document from Devlin and collaborators, or Kluwer et al., or Wan and collaborators. These kind of documents that speak about squad, datasets, swag, pre-training data, fine-tuning schemes, and so on are very interesting to me. And for example, the document of Josie and collaborators, speaking about taxonomies according with the recent findings, are very interesting to me. So I recognize that maybe we don't have the same focus. Well, we have the same task, that is to measure language diversity, but our profiles are different. So what kind of things we can do? So this is the solution, one of the solutions. It makes inside of GitHub, of the environment of GitHub, include our references, taking in the head five header: title, authors, type, brief description, and providing by. Well, notice that all header have to have colon. Well, thinking in GitHub and to upload our resource, the first is the header title. So we have to accurate to the resource, make a hyperlink. Don't forget the first letter in capitals, and we need that because we have to provide additional information about the resource and how we can do that. Anyway, we have to use the markdown for the hyperlink. It's a very easy language, and I'm sure that anybody will have any problem with that. Thinking in the header of authors, this is very easy too. It just include the name and then the surname, and with a comma if we have more than one. And the header of type. The header of type have things, because here we have data, tools, and researchers. And if we are thinking in type, like a publication, for example, what is the meaning of publication? Because we have different information. So when we are talking about type and we are write publication, we understand for publication a paper, a book, a chapter, something with a ISBN or with a DOI that include all the efforts that someone do, or in a group of researchers do. And they include chapters in a book or papers in a scientific journal, for example, or proceedings in conferences. But inside of type, we can write tool. So tool means video conference, talk, workshops, reports, guidelines, slides, research note, and so on. So we are talking about tools is when we are talking about computational assets for quantifying, analyzing, or processing measures of diversity in language data. This mainly includes software, but also metrics, skill sets, and documents thinking in languages. But inside type, we can include data too. So what is the difference between the researcher, or in this case publication, or the last one, the tool? Well, when we are talking about data, we are thinking in collecting data, results, other collections, list of repositories. So data includes all digital collections of languages data or language data, whether text, audio, video, but too, when we are capturing measures of diversity in some way. Thinking in the header brief description, I established 3 steps in order to make a definition about brief description. The first step is identify the document if it's possible, write in the year or to the resource. For example, in this case, it's a conference, and it's not necessary more than 10 words. In the brief description, the second step will be the explanation. It means what kind of resource is this, and with the idea of 40 words, more or less. So we have to explain what the resource is, because it will be the collection of resource later. So we need that. And the third step is identify the language of the languages that we are working in. This is important in Unidive, and if we are thinking in measuring language diversity. The last header is provided by. Provided by is interesting because not everybody have the same profile. I try to show that in the second or three slide before, and this is interesting. This is important because, for example, if I have a goal thinking in measure language diversity in education, maybe not always all the documents that are provided by Agatha Savary can be good to me because she is engineering. But maybe if my goal is identify the a kind of subject thinking in linguistic, in informatics or computer language, maybe the resources of Agatha Savary are very good. So it's very important, this header, and please don't forget it, because we can improve our efforts. Here we have an example inside of GitHub, at the end, no? Title, author, type, brief description, and provide by. And here we have different tips. It's very important, a broad range of resources from a number of perspectives. This is very rich for everybody. Other tip is, before adding a new resource, make sure it's not already in the document. And the third is, it is preferable to add any resource that you think may be useful rather than leave them out. So this is very important for everybody. Thank you very much for your attention.